Amazon tested warehouse robots and found they're not ready to replace human for now. So what they did is they beta tested a bunch of robots and had them do repetitive motions in some of their warehouses. The robots were called Stow and Pick. And so you can understand kind of by the name what the robots were intended to do. The Stow robot features a pinch gripper and an extendable plank for manipulating items in bins, a visual perception system for assessing available space in storage bins, a machine learning model to predict the packing success rate based on existing bin contents, and can adapt to make the space needed to add items to bins. And I couldn't actually was having a hard time figuring out how a machine would be able to determine. I find it difficult to determine what to do with this on some of these, because it just looks so, I don't know. It's just, but anyways, I kind of agree with the idea though. I agree with the concept that repetitive tasks like this could be given to a robot. I have worked in warehouses before I was in programming in order to make money, and the repetitive nature of things can easily be, in some cases, be done by a robot. Now, 9% of failures damaged an item, right? Because they did 500,000 items and it did its job about 85% of the time. So there was about 15% of the time that it wouldn't. And then they damaged an item most often after the product fell to the floor. 14% of failures saw pages of a book mangled when the bot tried to place it in a pod. And, books are, well, yeah, I mean, Amazon sells books, right? So its speed was similar to that achieved by humans. And if you can narrow down the scope of failures, then maybe it's worth it. Then they have the Pick robot. It ran 6 hours per day on weekends from October 2024 to March 2025. It had a 91% success rate across 12,000 pick attempts, although it rejected 19.4% of pick requests after its machine vision failed to recognize the item. And so very similar to the other thing that we just went over, it's going to go and find the things that need to get picked out of the boxes so that they can get put into a bin so that they can get shipped out. Now, this entire thing here, even though it's not as good as humans and they have to go back to figuring out some of the issues with it and making it better, I would actually argue that this might be an okay use for robots and machine learning, and especially for big companies like Amazon and warehouses like this where they can kind of put a bunch of time and money into it. I think that there is a use case for it here. I do, because a lot of it is repetitive, and if you can sort out some of the logistics behind determining what exists in one of these boxes. Let me see up here. If you could even get to before the boxes are set up. So instead of having it messy like this, if you could have like another robot that properly puts everything in its place and keeps them neat and organized, like there is a way to automate a lot of this that you don't necessarily need a human for. As long as it's done correctly and the downsides are taken into account, I don't think this is like a bad, this might be okay. I would be okay with that. And having done this kind of work myself, yeah, I think a robot could probably replace what I did. Yeah, it was very repetitive. For the most part, right? Nothing's ever perfect, but